Hello everyone, this is the part 6 of human reproduction and welcome back to the channel. So in this part 6, there will be explanation of fertilization and implantation. We have already discussed the male reproductive system, female reproductive system, process of gametogenesis separately in different lectures, spermatogenesis as well as oogenesis. Then I have also discussed about the menstrual cycle. So please go through those topics, then come to the part 6 for better understanding of the topic. So after the formation of the formation of gametes takes place inside respectively in the male genital tract and female reproductive system. So the formation is known as gametogenesis, and by the means of the gametogenesis there is the formation of sperm and ovum. What are these? This is the female gamete and this is the male gamete, and both are haploid in nature, having the 23 number of chromosome in each of the gamete. So after the act of gametogenesis, there is the process of fertilization in reproduction process. So this is the fusion of gametes. What exactly it is? The fusion of gamete inside the female reproductive system. So this act of fusion of gamete will result in the formation of a diploid structure which is known as zygote, is known as fertilization. So fusion of a haploid male gamete and a haploid female gamete to form a diploid cell which is known as zygote having 46 number of chromosome is called fertilization. Where it takes place, the site of fertilization is exactly the ampullary region of the fallopian tube. Fallopian tubes are also known as oviducts. So this is the ampullary or the ampulla of fallopian tube where exactly the process of fertilization or the act of fertilization for the formation of zygote takes place. So first of all, in the process of fertilization there is the arrival of spermatozoa. What exactly? The man discharges semen high up in the female vagina during the coitus process or the copulation process. So this process is called insemination, the act of the process by which semen is released from the penis into the vagina during the coitus or the copulation act is called insemination. Now from the vagina, the sperm, they reach the ampulla partially by their own effort and partially by the action of the uterus. So what is the sperm effort to reach the fallopian tube or exactly to the ampulla region of the fallopian tubes which is the site of the fertilization. The sperms which are present in the semen, they travel a very long way through the uterus into the fallopian tube by swimming in the fluid medium. So a single ejaculate of semen into the vagina, it contains about 200 to 400 million sperms in around 3 ml of fluid secretion. So the number is very high, but only around 100 they reach the fallopian tube. So sperm, they swim from the vagina into the cervical canal by the whip-like movement of their tails. As the tail has the flagellary movement, it helps in the swimming of the sperm. The passage of sperm through the rest of the uterus and then into the junction of ampulla. The passage of sperm through the rest of the uterus and then into the junction of the ampulla and isthmus results mainly from contraction of the wall of these organs. Here the brief introduction about the human ovum. This is the structure of a human ovum. As we can see here, it has a large nucleus which has a prominent nucleolus, and it is covered by two kind of membranes. So one of the membrane is the zona pellucida, which is the inner one, and the secondary membrane is the corona radiata. So out of this is the thinner one, and it is the inner one also. It is the thicker membrane. There is a plasma membrane also. So these are the covering, and this is the pre-vitelline membrane or the space. Now it is filled with a large amount of cytoplasm. It is almost free of yolk, and the cytoplasm of the ovum is also known as the ooplasm. So the egg of human is microlacithal, homolacithal or isolacithal. The size is less than 0.1 millimeter. Plasma membrane of it is surrounded by a non-cellular transparent and secretory coating which is called zona pellucida, and in non-mammals it is known as vitelline membrane. The zona pellucida is further covered by corona radiata, which is consist of follicle cells, and this is as zona pellucida, it is secreted by ovum itself, so it is called the primary egg membrane, while the corona radiata is formed of radially elongated follicular cells, so it is called the secondary egg membrane. This is the primary egg membrane. So what are the key points here? This is again the structure of the ovum. It is surrounded by some sperm. So the ovum is released from the ovary by means of the ovulation process at the secondary oocyte stage, is also transported to the ampullary region where the fertilization takes place. The egg is released from the mature Graafian follicle of an ovary by means of ovulation, is received by the nearby fallopian funnel, and it is sent to the fallopian tube by means of the fimbriae. And their cilia. So these are the fimbriae and cilia which help in the passage of this ovum into the fallopian tube, and it is the secondary oocyte stage with a second meiotic division in progress. So the oocyte, it can live for around 70 to 72 hours when can be fertilized only during the first 24 hours of this period. So there is fertilization can only occur if the ovum and sperm are transported simultaneously into the ampullary region of the fallopian tubes. So fertilization, there are three prominent stages in case of fertilization or in the process of fertilization. So what are these three prominent stages? This is the contact of male and female gametes, which is must to have, otherwise there will be no fusion. So the contact of male and female gametes should be there first of all. Then there is the activation of egg. It involves some physical and the physiological changes. Then there is finally the fusion of the pronuclei of the both the gametes. So contact of gametes. Sperm in the female genital tract, they are made capable of fertilizing the egg by the secretions of the female genital tracts. So this secretion, what is the function of this secretion? The function of these secretions is to remove or alter molecules which are deposited on the surface of the spermatozoa from the semen. So in many of the this process of the secretion from the female genital, and the removal of the molecules which were deposited on the surface of the spermatozoa from the semen is called the capacitation process. One of the more important event, this is known as the capacitation of sperms. In many of the non-chordates, there is a chemical attraction. The chemical attraction, or which is also called as the chemotaxis, occurs between the gametes. In human and frog, the contact between sperm and egg is at random. In case of human and frog, this contact between the male gamete and the female gamete, it is by random chance or by chance. The contact fixes the sperm onto the egg surface because of the fertilization of the egg surface and anti-fertilization of the sperm. Now there is the activation of egg. After the contact of the sperm with the egg, there is the activation of egg, and there are both physiological as well as the physical changes which occur during this phase. During the phase of activation of the egg, there are some changes, or there are some changes which are the physiological changes as well as there are the physical changes. So what are the physiological changes? This sperm entry stimulate metabolism in the zygote. There are physiological changes which the consumption of oxygen, release of carbon dioxide is there also. There is production of ammonia, and all this increases during the activation of the egg. So with a higher metabolic rate, the permeability of the plasma membrane also increases. So these are the physiological changes, as the rate of consumption of oxygen and the release of the carbon dioxide and the production of ammonia, it increases during this contact of sperm with the egg. And because of this higher metabolic rate, the permeability of the plasma membrane also increases. Now there are some physical changes. What are these? These include one of the most important reaction, that is known as the acrosomal reaction. When we have discussed the structure of sperm, this is the tail, this is the acrosome of the sperm, which is the head. Now why it is important? It helps in the penetration of the sperm into the egg, and it has the hydrolytic enzymes which help in the process of lysis. Lysing means breaking down. So the most important physical change is the acrosome reaction. This is known as the acrosomal reaction. For this reaction, there is influx of sodium, and then acrosome ruptures to release lytic agents. What are these lytic agents? The lytic agents have some enzymes which help in the penetration of the sperm into the egg. So the aim or the goal of the acrosome reaction or this contact, there are some enzymes which are present in the acrosome, and during this there is release of these enzymes which help in the penetration of the sperm into the egg, and which is must for the process of fertilization. So what are these enzymes? These enzymes are hyaluronidase, this is the corona digesting enzymes, and the third one is the acrosin or the Jala lysine. So there are two membranes which are present outside the ovum. This is plasma membrane, then there is zona, and there is the corona radiata. So zona pellucida, and there is corona radiata. So to enter inside the ovum, the lysis of these membranes is important. It dissolves hyaluronic acid, the cementing material of the follicle cells. Corona digesting enzyme, it digests corona radiata, which is the outer membrane. It is the thicker one. Now the acrosin or the zona lysine, it is the enzyme. It digests zona pellucida, which is a non-cellular and the transparent coating present in the human ovum. Now formation of fertilization cone. After the contact by means of physiological changes as well as by means of physical changes, or there was acrosome reaction. When acrosomal content is released, means the enzymes, the lytic enzymes were released, is released over plasma membrane of the ovum. The whole cytoplasm surrounding the sperm is raised to receive the sperm. The conical structure formed due to rising of cytoplasm of ovum is called fertilization cone or the reception cone. Now the egg, it extends around the entering sperm. Finger-like process is called microvilli, which constitute a fertilization cone. Now this fertilization cone, this actually helps in the entry of the sperm into the egg. Here the distal central of the sperm, they divide and forms two central to generate the mitotic spindle for the cell division. So after that the contact or the acrosome content, when the content is released over the plasma membrane of the ovum, a conical structure is formed due to the rising of the cytoplasm of the ovum, which help in the entry of the sperm into the egg. And this conical structure is called the reception cone or the fertilization cone. All these are the changes which takes place during the contact of egg with the sperm. Now there is one of the important event, that is the cortical reaction. Immediately after the fusion of sperm and egg plasma membrane, the egg shows a cortical reaction to further check the entry of more sperm. So in this reaction, the cortical granules present beneath the egg's plasma membrane, it fuses with the plasma membrane and releases their content or the enzymes between the plasma membrane and the zona pellucida. Now what is the role of these enzymes? These enzymes actually harden the zona pellucida, now which functions as the shear block of polyspermy. So when free calcium ions are liberated into the egg cytoplasm from bound state, the cortical granules which are present in the outer portion of the cytoplasm of the egg. So main role is of cortical granules, they burst and their content, it fuses with the zona pellucida. As in the structure of the ovum, there is plasma membrane, previtelline space, then there is zona pellucida. So the cortical granules, they burst and they joined with the zona pellucida and they form the fertilization membrane or harden the zona pellucida. So this is known as the cortical reaction. And why it is important? It is important because once a sperm enter inside the ovum for actual fusion, then it restricts the other sperm which were coming towards the ovum, because all the sperm have same acrosome head, so they can also enter. So the meaning or the main role or the aim of the cortical reaction is to prevent the polyspermy. This membrane is very thick, it is thicker than vitelline membrane and the zona pellucida, and it prevents polyspermy in frog. The polyspermy is the entrance of more than one sperm into the egg. So it is a sure block to polyspermy. Now the actual fusion of the pronuclei. So fertilization, fertile means fruitful. So after the fusion is a process in which ovum fuses with the sperm. So in this last event, The genetic material from the haploid sperm cell, spermatozoon, and a haploid secondary oocyte merge into a single diploid nucleus having 46 chromosomes. Sperm entry, it stimulates the egg or the secondary oocyte to resume and complete the suspended meiosis second. At that time, it produces a haploid mature ovum and a second polar body. Now, during this time, the head of the sperm, which consists of the nucleus, it separates from the middle piece and tail and become the male pronucleus. That's why it is called pronuclei. And the second polar body immediately degenerates, and so does the sperm tail also. Also the sperm tail, the chromosome of the ovum are now organized into a nucleus. They represent the female pronuclei. So the female pronuclei and the male pronuclei which were formed, or the pronucleus, they fuses, and the mixing up of the chromosome of a sperm and a ovum is actually called the karyogamy or amphimixis. Now the ovum is called as a zygote after the fusion. This completes the act of fertilization, and this fertilization process, it combines the genetic information from the two parents. By means of the fertilization, the mother is now said to be pregnant. The first cell is come into existence which has the 46 chromosomes. Fertilization normally occurs in the uterine fallopian tube within 12 to 24 hours after ovulation. So these are the events. First one, contact. Then there are some physiological and physical changes. Then the fusion of pronuclei. And this is the fusion of pronuclei which actually formed a zygote having a diploid cell. It has information from both the parents. Genetic information of both the parents. Now after the process of fertilization, so what is the significance? First of all, what is the significance of fertilization? It provides stimulation for the egg to complete its maturation. It activates the ovum to develop into a new individual by repeated mitotic division. It combines characteristics of two parents. It determines the sex of the young one to be developed from the zygote in humans. So after the process of fertilization, there is cleavage or the segmentation. It is also known as the segmentation. What is cleavage? It is actually the series of mitotic divisions which occur after fertilization. After the process of fertilization, there are a series of mitotic divisions and divide the entire egg or egg part into smaller cellular units. So this division of the zygote into the smaller cellular unit by means of repeated mitotic divisions for forming a many-celled blastula actually. So this is known as the cleavage. Cleavage in human zygote is equal and holoblastic, and the fate of cleavage cell is not predetermined. So it is an indeterminate type of cleavage, and the pattern of the cleavage in human egg is radial. So what are the characteristics of cleavage? Single-celled structure, which is the zygote, is converted into a multicellular structure called the blastula. Now by means of the repeated mitotic divisions, the single-celled zygote, which was the product of the fertilization, it is converted into a multicellular structure which is known as the blastula. And any kind of growth is in between the divisions is absent. The size of the embryo, in spite of the mitotic division, it does not changes, because the zygote, morula and the blastula, these are the different forms which are formed after the mitotic divisions. These are of the same sizes. There is no cytoplasmic displacement and the external morphology of the embryo remains unchanged. Nucleoli are lacking in the cleavage cells. Protein synthesis continues. Nucleocytoplasmic ratio increases during cleavage. So this is how the process of morula and the blastocyst takes place. So here what we are seeing the division. First of all, there is early zygote, then there is division in that. You can see here it is a Jola pellucida. Then the zygote is divided into the two equal part which is known as the blastomeres. That's why it is known as holoblastic two equal parts. Now there is further division which is it is a two-celled stage. It is a four-celled stage. Then in between there is three-celled, then it is the four-celled. Then there is 8-cell stage. Then there is a multicellular form is formed, and this multicellular form is called as the morula. Now the embryo looks like a mulberry and is known as the morula. It refers to the lobed surface of the embryo at this stage. Cleavage is radial. In radial cleavage at 8-cell stage, the upper 4 cells are directly, the meaning of radial, directly above the lower 4 cells. Okay. And it is indeterminate. Indeterminate means each blastomere which was formed by early cleavage division retain the capacity to develop into a complete embryo. So it is the indeterminate cleavage of the human zygote that makes identical twins possible. So what is this? Each blastomere formed by cleavage retains the capacity to develop into a complete embryo. So in cleavage there is repeated mitotic division, and there are 2-celled stage, 3-celled stage, 4-celled stage, and after the division repeated renal, there is the formation of a mulberry like body which is known as the morula. And the division, it is indeterminate type, it is holoblastic, and as the blastomere which were formed earlier, they are of the same size. It is radial. At 8 to 16 cell stage formed after 3 to 4 days of fertilization, it is called morula. Important. During morula stage, the peripheral cells are separated from inner mass of the embryo. This is the morula stage when the peripheral cells these are separated from the embryo. The peripheral layer from the trophoblast. The structure is like this then. They are separated from the peripheral cells, and these are the blastomeres. The peripheral layer from trophoblast, the inner cell mass group of formative cells is oriented towards the animal hemisphere having a large cavity which is called as the blastocele. After this, and there is the formation of the blastocyst. The inner cell mass group of formative cells is oriented towards animal hemisphere having a large cavity called blastocele. This is called blastula stage and is about 5 days old after the morula formation, which is 8 to 16 cell structure. Then there is the formation of blastocyst, outer layer of the cells of the morula. Now absorb the nutrient fluid which is secreted by the uterine mucous membrane, and now it is called the trophoblast. The fluid absorbed by the trophoblast collects in a cavity which is known as the blastocele. Okay, so the structure is like this. It can be understood easily by means of this structure. And there is a group of cells, these are blastomeres. So this is the trophoblast. Peripheral layers. During morula stage, the peripheral cells are separated from the inner mass and the peripheral layer from the trophoblast. And this is the cavity which is known as the blastocele. So what is exactly blastocele? The fluid absorbed by the trophoblast collects in a cavity which is known as the blastocele. It separates from the trophoblast, or it separates the trophoblast from the inner cell mass except from the one side. So from one side the inner cell mass is attached to the trophoblast, while in rest of the space the cavity is present. The number of cells in the blastula ranges from 32 to 64. At this stage, the blastula stage in mammals is known as blastocyst. Morula, trophoblast, blastocele, blastocyst. The formative cells, which are the inner cell mass of the embryo, form the embryo or the fetus, where the trophoblast layer from the extra embryonic membrane or the chorion, a part of the placenta. Now this is the inner cell mass which actually form the embryo or the growing fetus, while the trophoblast layer does not take part in the formation of the embryo, while indirectly it supports the formation of the embryo, or it forms the extra embryonic membranes or the chorion, which is a part of the placenta. The inner cell mass or the formative cells also contain stem cells that have the potential to give rise to all kind of tissues and organs of the body. So stem cells are very important as these have the ability to develop all kind of tissues and organs of the body. So this inner mass of the embryo, these stem cells. After blastula stage, the zona pellucida also erodes and the trophoblast is exposed. Now the blastula at the 32 to 64 stage, it reaches the uterus and gets attached to the endometrium uterine wall. This attachment of the blastula to the uterus is called implantation. So implantation is actually the attachment of the blastocyst to the uterine wall, and it takes place around 7 or 6 to 8 days after the process of fertilization. Implantation, the blastocyst remains free within the uterine cavity for about 2 days before it attaches to the uterine wall. After 6 days of fertilization, or about 6 days after fertilization, the blastocyst loosely attaches to the endometrium in a process called implantation. So implantation is actually the attachment of the blastocyst to the uterine wall. So here we can see it is the frontal section through uterus, and this is the uterine cavity, and this is the blastocyst which is attaching to the uterine membrane of the uterus. So by this diagram we can easily summarize the events which are associated with the first week of development. So this is the day when the fertilization occurs. It occurs within uterine tubes 12 to 24 hours after the ovulation, when the ovum is released. After that, of 20 to 24 hours, the process of fertilization or the fusion of the gametes for the formation of the zygote takes place, and it is diploid. Now, after the formation of the zygote, there is repeated mitotic divisions in this zygote for the formation of the embryo or the fetus. Now the cleavage and this repeated mitotic divisions is known as the cleavage of the zygote. First cleavage completed about 30 hours after fertilization. So what we are seeing here, this is the ovary, and from a mature Graafian follicle the ovulation takes place, and from there the ovum is released. Now the ovum is traveling to the region, this is the ampullary region where the of the fallopian tube where the fertilization takes place. Now it is moving towards the womb where the actual development of the fetus occurs. So before reaching to that, the cleavage process is in process. So first cleavage is completed after 30 hours, about 30 hours after fertilization. So here you can see it is the cleavage. 2 blastomeres can be easily seen. Then there are 4 cell stage, 8 cell stage. Then there is the formation of morbura having multi blastomeres. It occurs 3 to 4 days after the fertilization process. Now blastocyst is formed around 5 days after fertilization. This is the blastocyst into the uterine cavity. Then the attachment of the blastocyst into the uterine wall is known as the implantation, and it occurs around 6 days or the 7 days after the process of fertilization. So these are the events in the fertilization and implantation. So hope everything is understood by the learners in an easy way. Thank you so much, guys.